half in the bag.
Ooh, Jay, this spooky skull has reminded me that today is Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody! There's a snowstorm in Wisconsin.
Oh,
Well, I guess we should get on the road if we're going to make it to that movie on time.
that's right. Oh. Lightning fast VCR repair. This is Mike. Oh, hi, Grandpa Joe. What's that you say? Power lines down? Roads are out? Oh, geez. I guess we're stuck here at the VCR repair shop. Thanks, Grandpa Joe. Talk to you later.
Why was my grandpa calling you?
I don't know. Wait a minute. Isn't your grandpa dead? And today's Halloween! Quick, call Ghost Adventures. We have a haunted telephone. $50,000, Zach Baggins. It's haunted!
Well, Mike, if we're stuck in the VCR repair shop, we might as well do our annual catch-up video.
Shouldn't we do that in December when the weather's even worse?
No, that's when we'll be too busy thinking about killing ourselves.
Talking about Star Wars, Rise of the Jedi.
Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars.
Rise of
Rise of the Retcon?
Rise of Spooky? Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker
That's
is
it.
the title of the film that comes out in December that everyone's excited for.
They have 16 different endings.
They're still doing reshoots. They're going to be acting out the ending of the movie live on the first showing because they're not done with it yet.
Maybe it'll be the first choose your own ending.
There you go. Yeah.
It'll be like that movie Clue when they put
Oh
that
yeah,
in
they released it
theaters.
in theaters with different endings.
Different endings, yeah.
If they're that desperate for cash, like no one wants to see this movie, so we'll release multiple versions. So the few nerds that do want to see it will see it multiple times.
You know what they could do? When you buy your tickets online, you fill out like a questionnaire. What would you like to see in this movie? Good guys win, bad guys win. Emperor comes back.
Okay.
Jedi Order restored. Like da 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 da.
So then they make the movie.
Well, that it's like when you fill out one of those like clickbait surveys. Which character are you in this? And then you follow all the questionnaire, and then at the end, it tells you like the results.
Yeah.
And so that they base what movie screening you go to. You have to see the movie at this theater at this time. Oh, great. Rey killed Palpatine. Kylo Ren restored his faith in the Force, and Rey and Kylo worked together to restore a new Jedi Order. Oh, well, the version I saw, Palpatine came back to life and turned Rey to the dark side, and Kylo Ren turned good and killed Rey. Oh my gosh.
But if it's tailored so that everybody gets what they want, then what are people going to endlessly argue about on the internet?
Which ending was better?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this'll open a whole slew of arguments, Jay. I think this is the way to go, and I think Martin Scorsese is just going to love this idea. He's just going to love it. Tailor-made cinema. I'm trademarking that. I'm trademarking that, Kevin Feige. I guess interactive would be a more apropos.
Well, it's not really interactive. You're not interacting with the film. You're just making the creative decisions because that's
Tailor-made to your choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to fill out a survey online, and then you get your ticket printed. You have to go to a specific theater.
Yes.
Because obviously, and then all those people in your theater have all answered all the same questions. So you have a camaraderie.
Yeah. And everybody cheers at the exact same moments that they know are coming.
Yes.
This is wonderful.
Yeah. So do you find flatulence funny? And then the scene where Chewbacca farts.
Okay.
He goes and shoots his crossbow. And then that didn't test well originally, like Chewbacca farting and accidentally firing his crossbow.
But this 500 people in Davenport want to see it.
Yes.
So
The home of the farts.
if you want to see Chewbacca fart, you got to drive to Davenport.
That's right. These ideas are all great.
It's going to be great.
So Jay, what films have you seen this year? Oh, I still use paper because I'm a boomer. Okay, boomer. What is that device?
Does that make me a zoomer?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, if we're going in chronological order, I saw Escape Room.
Oh, I saw Escape Room.
You wanted to escape the room?
I did escape the room once. We went to a room screening. That was the one that Tommy Wiseau was at.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a fucking nightmare. It was like a rock concert.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't just people yelling funny lines at the screen. It was just like nonstop drunk babbling.
I think I called it a hockey game.
Yeah.
It was just screaming.
I was waiting for a fist fight to break out. Yes. I was like, I'm out of here. This isn't fun anymore.
Well, Tommy Wiseau came on stage, and there was like a Q&A, and every question he would just go, next question!
That's boy, next question.
Yeah.
And then everybody would cheer, and then somebody vomited.
Yeah.
And then I left.
Yeah, it was like the end of Ed Wood, where it was running out of the theater.
Yeah.
People throwing popcorn and trying to stampede the stage. What a fucking nightmare. Anyways, Escape Room. I like movies about people being trapped in places and having to figure their way out. Of course, one of the famous ones is Cube. I love movies like that. I thought this was okay. It was serviceable. It jumped into the plot very quickly with the heat room, where all sorts of heat lamps started to burn people, and I'm like, oh, the movie started.
That was the first room in the escape room, right? Yeah. It was just like immediately.
It gave you it gave you the bang for your buck in terms of escape room adventures, but ultimately, it was just okay.
I think it was a pretty decent hit too, which is, I don't know.
In terms of financial success.
Yeah, it probably didn't cost much to make, but
yeah.
I saw it a few months ago. I don't remember a fucking thing about it.
Yeah, there's the 5, 6, 7 rooms, and the point of it ultimately was spoilers. The point of it ultimately was that each person that got this magical Willy Wonka-esque invitation to come to the escape room was a person that had been the lone survivor of some kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Whether the woman was a military vet,
the
kid, I don't know, somebody survived something. I don't
One
know.
of them survived a screening of The Room.
Yes.
A very raucous screening of The
to
Room.
make it out alive. And then some faraway evil corporation was trying to find the best of the best in terms of survivors, even though most of it was happenstance.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that movie Predators, where it's like they get the worst possible people and they put them via predators.
Yeah.
Someone was like, a plane crash, 4 people were with me and I happened to survive. Oh, well, we're going to put you in this situation where I'm not really skilled.
Yeah,
just lucky.
I'm not skilled in surviving a room where the ceiling's caving in and there's heat lamps everywhere. Like,
So
it's not an unusual situation.
A flimsy premise, some fun set pieces.
Well, it's one of those ideas, I think, like, because escape rooms are actually popular now. Like, that's like those and like extreme haunts, those types of things. So they're like, let's make a movie about escape rooms, but what do we do with it? Survivors? And then they just kind of
Yeah. It's, how do you write a script about that? Yeah. I would prefer a more down-to-earth version of it, where it's like, 10 people go in this escape room. It's normally a pretty normally runs escape room, except for a psychopath takes over for a day and actually wants to torture people. I guess it's kind of like Saw or whatever. I don't know.
It's like Haunted Ween.
Man, she's a good actress. She can really act.
I guess Escape Room kind of reminded me of another movie, Belko Experiment, and that I like much more.
Who the fuck are you to decide who lives and dies? You will rot in hell for this!
Well, that was a little more fantastical and kind of crazy, which made it more interesting.
Right, and it was more
This movie was
violent.
this was like right down the line, where it's not too ridiculous, but it's not too realistic either. So it's like
It's safe for a PG-13 rating.
Was it PG-13?
Probably.
Lame.
But I like Belko Experiment much more.
Sure.
That movie made me want to throw up.
Put that on the poster.
That was scary. I like that when people are trapped in something and
when people are pushed to their breaking points, and
Yeah.
people that otherwise seem nice start to shoot everybody. Like
Yes.
it's unsettling.
When society breaks down, but especially when you're trapped and you have to figure out a way out.
Yeah,
Because you're like, hey, do this. It gets you really into it.
that's why Cube is so great. Minus the acting. The acting of that movie is pretty bad,
Some sketchy acting in
but
Cube.
the premise is wonderful.
So that's Escape Room.
And they all look just the same.
Well, speaking of movies that will make you want to vomit, I saw a film called Climax.
Of course you did.
I have other more family-friendly movies on my list this year, but we'll start with the most extreme one.
Oh, you're so good. You liked it? I'm so happy. I couldn't be happier.
This is directed by Gaspar Noé, who's a crazy Argentinian man. Made a lot of kind of extreme movies, probably most well known for a movie called Irreversible. So this movie is, I believe it's all one continuous take, or not actual, but meant to look like it. But it's a bunch of like dance academy students hanging out at the school, having a party, and someone laced their drinks with LSD. And everybody freaks out and loses their mind. And that's the whole movie, and it feels like a fucking nightmare. Lots and lots of, there's a ton of dancing. It's not like a movie you watch for the plot. It's really more of like an experiential thing, where it's like there's a lot of dancing at the beginning. It starts with this overhead shot. It's just one person after the other dancing. It just keeps on going. They just keep dancing, and everybody freaks out. There's lots of yelling. And the way the camera work is, it's like, it feels like a nightmare, like where you're just getting glimpses of things here and there. So it's like other Gaspar Noé films where I'd say I appreciate it for its technical qualities. It's really well put together, and I will never watch it again. I bought the soundtrack immediately, though.
Did it have a good climax?
I mean, not like a satisfying one from a narrative, no, but in a I feel awful and I want to vomit way, then yes.
Okay.
It had a wonderful scene where Sofia Boutella, who was the mummy in the Tom Cruise Mummy movie, there's a scene where the camera just holds on her as she flips out and flails around a room for like 5 minutes. And that's Gaspar Noé, that's what he does.
Well, bless him.
At least he's doing something different.
Is this a movie you would recommend watching on the new Netflix 1.5?
Yeah, watch this movie at twice the speed.
Throw up twice as fast. Can I address that real quick? Everyone on the internet was like, stupids, why are you mad about this? There's a fast forward button. There's always been a fast forward button. And I'm like,
The fast forward button is to get to another point in the film.
the fast forward button also, 1.5 times the speed. I'm sure what their plan is, you hear audio.
Yeah.
And they,
YouTube has that ability.
yeah, and then so it's like, yeah, you get the information and the scene faster. I can see, a hardcore cinema, filmmaker like Martin Scorsese saying it's blasphemy, or most directors actually,
Yeah.
because timing, editing, setting up atmosphere.
The entire craft of filmmaking.
The entire craft of filmmaking is based on exactly how they want to present it.
Yeah.
Unless it's The Rise of Skywalker. That's different. Yeah, so I can see that being offensive to directors, but people going, it's a fast forward button. No.
Yeah.
And on that note, this is not new news to me, because at some point in recent history, some guy discovered, this may have been a while ago, but some guy discovered that you can take like your average rerun sitcom in syndication or whatever, and play it at like 1.2 times the speed.
Okay.
Or like 1% faster, or even maybe 2% faster, to where it was almost indistinguishable from the original version, and you could squeeze in 2 more commercials.
Oh.
Because you shave off a minute.
Sure.
Or a minute and a half. And so it's like, yeah, you're watching that old episode of All in the Family or Cheers on, whatever network, and it's the same episode, but it's just 1% faster, and you can squeeze in 2 more commercials, which makes you some more money. Netflix is doing it for people that are lazy and don't want to sit through a 2-hour
Consume
movie.
information, move on
Yeah.
to next thing. Yeah.
You could sit through it. Yes, you can get the information faster. They're doing it to...
Well, binge watching is a big part of their whole thing.
Yeah.
So if you have a season of a TV show and you can get through it twice as fast,
1.5 times as fast.
whatever.
So I just wanted to bring that up real quick, since it's a topic on the internet, and since we're trapped in the VCR repair shop, unable to go anywhere in a blizzard.
Well, that's how I would recommend watching Climax then. Wait till it's on Netflix and watch it at 1.5 speed.
You hear that, Gasparo?
All your crafts and all your attention to detail and intricate camera movements and choreography, I'm just going to speed through that shit.
Mm-hmm.
When did we get to the fireworks factory? That's all I want to know.
Yeah. You can watch that Martin Scorsese film, Silence, from a few years back. 2.5 times as... Fuck it, 5 times! The movie's 3.5 hours long, Marty. I don't got time for that.
I gotta watch more reruns of The Big Bang Theory.
Bazinga. Jay, both of us watched Happy Death Day to You.
We did.
As fans of the original Happy Death Day.
I might be able to help with that. I died 11 times.
We talked about it briefly on another episode. It came up for some reason.
Oh.
You pitched your title for the third one.
That's right!
Happy Death Day 2. No, Happy. What was it going to be? And many more.
Happy Death Day 3 and many more. Yes.
Although there won't be many more because I think this one was kind of
flop?
I don't know if it was a huge flop, but it didn't do very well.
Yeah, I could see that. It got a little bonkers. It
Well,
turned
it-
into an episode of Star Trek, basically. And it didn't have many bloody kills. And
No, like, I mean, the first one's basically a comedy, but it still had that, like, facade of a slasher movie. And with this one, and I don't blame them because, like, they did that. What do you do with a sequel? Like, I don't know, let's just get really ridiculous with it.
It's a big science fiction device.
Yeah.
They could change time.
Alternate dimensions.
I can't remember, but it went off the rails in a fun way.
I thought it was fun. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't great. It had a moment towards the end that reminded me of, like, something you'd see on Saved by the Bell, where they had the one bitchy girl pretend to be blind because she's like an acting student.
Oh, yeah.
And so she's trying to distract the dean or whatever so they can sneak into the lab. I was like, this feels like a Saturday morning children's show.
Marbles everywhere.
So that part sucked, but the rest of it was pretty fun. A lot of it is that lead performance. That lead girl, I think, is good. The best thing in both movies is her little montage of all the ways she kills herself.
Right.
In this one, she's so enthusiastic about jogging headfirst into a wood chipper. I'd watch a whole movie of that, just her constantly killing herself.
Call up Mr. Gasparo from Argentina. Maybe he'll make that kind of movie.
Gaspar. He'll direct Happy Death Day 3. They're like, fuck it, we went bonkers with the second one. Let's go even more so with the third one. It'll all be one shot. It'll have constant techno music booming, and it'll just be death after death.
Her premise is, oh God, maybe if I kill myself enough times, one of them will stick permanently. She just gives up on the storyline. And then she takes LSD.
Okay.
And then it's just one crazy death after another. Just the most inventive, insane deaths just for 2 hours.
I'm for it.
Yeah, maybe 90 minutes.
Let's get, 90 minutes is 80 minutes. We'll do 80 minutes.
Mr. Gaspernoy?
Give us a call. We'll get you in touch with Jason Blum.
Oh, yeah. He's making new Halloween movies.
Yeah, they're busy doing that. They're busy running that into the ground. Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends are the next two.
Oh, they're doing a twofer?
They're filming them, yeah. I don't think like back-to-back, but one shortly after the other. But the fact that the last one's called Halloween Ends is like, it won't be. Like, it sounds like it'll have a finality to it, but it won't.
It's going to take 4 years to film these movies because Jamie Lee Curtis has to constantly take bathroom breaks.
Sometimes if I eat as I used to, my digestive system gets out of whack.
Is that a dated reference? Does she still do those commercials? I guess it doesn't matter. People still make Bill Cosby pudding pop jokes. So I'm thinking of like Halloween Ends. Comes out her ends. Something there.
Yeah. When will our Halloween end? So we can get back to summer in 11 months.
Yeah. Or at least the roads are clear enough so we can go see hit films like
Terminator Genesis. Terminator Salvations.
Star Wars.
What is the next Terminator called? Deepfake?
Terminator Deepfake.
Terminator. Oh, Dark Fate. Oh, that's a memorable title.
Yeah.
It's just like all those Transformers movies.
Transformers, Age of Transformertron.
Why did they give up on numbers? I mean, these movies are just big piles of shit, anyways. It's not like they're classy when they have a semicolon and a Dark Fate. Because
they don't want to alienate anyone. They want as many people to see it as possible. So you don't. Did I see the last one?
Yes, true. Yeah. Dummies would.
I didn't see part 3, but should I see part 4?
Yeah, and it don't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, because they just keep redoing it.
Yeah.
It's like those. What's that? Where they're ladies running around and killing zombies.
Oh, the Resident Evil
movies. Yes. Can you put those in chronological order? I mean, that's. I don't think anybody can.
I don't think Mila Jovovich can.
Yeah, I don't remember. The director probably can't.
It's funny you should mention sequels not having numbers anymore because the next movie on my list is John Wick 3. Not John Wick Annihilation, not John Wick Age of Ultron, John Wick The Reckoning.
John Wick Dark Fate of the Moon.
John Wick, John Wick.
I need your help.
After this, we are less than even.
Well, Jay, I have not seen a single John Wick movie. I know people love them. Tell me why they are exciting films.
Well, much like the title, it's just John Wick 3. It's just very basic. This is just really basic, straightforward action films with well choreographed action. Camera stays back, you can see what the fuck is happening. They're really simple and just really effective and really well done.
So they're glorifying violence and promoting gun culture?
They are, but nobody called them out. They had to call out The Joker instead. A movie that's about a very specific person and isn't just tons of people shooting each other like the John Wick films. For some reason, those aren't problematic. The first one's the best, and they kind of, as most sequels do, they go down, but they're still consistently quality.
Okay.
They're the very simple concept. The first movie, people kill John Wick's dog, and he goes out for revenge, but it's not the dog, it's what the dog represents, as you learn throughout the film. Just really, really, there's not a whole lot to say about them, because they're so streamlined.
Oh, right. So you would recommend the John Wick series?
I would. I've enjoyed all of them.
It's very uncharacteristic of you.
I like an action movie if it's not stupid or obnoxious. And this one has enough style, which is, I like a lot of neon lights and that kind of thing. There's a really great fight scene in the second movie that's set in a room that's just filled with mirrors. And I'm assuming they use digital trickery to not have the camera in the shot constantly. But yeah, really creative set pieces, really well done. I think they're directed by stunt guys, which would explain why there's so much of emphasis on choreography and all that. So, yeah.
And why they hired Keanu Reeves to act.
Hey, Keanu Reeves in the right role. He's perfectly fine.
He's a charming fellow.
Yeah. I'm excited for the Bill and Ted movie.
As long as it doesn't suck.
Well, it's written by the guys who wrote the first two. So it's the same people that are involved, and seems to be, because I hate these like late comedy sequels where it's like you see the same people doing the same thing and it's depressing. But I think the Bill and Ted movie is partially about them being old and pathetic. So it's like, that's great. You could do that with the Ghostbusters.
That's what I always said about that original Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah. The more out of shape, the more pathetic they are, the better.
Yes. Yeah. Suck in the guts, guys, with the Ghostbusters. It's one of the best lines from the second one. And this was all, of course, before Harold Ramis passed. Harold Ramis passed, nope, we're done. Yeah. Don't do it, don't touch it, leave it alone.
Then they touched it, they didn't leave it alone. It flopped, and so now they're just doing it again.
It's like having after 1980, having the Beatles reunite without John Lennon. We're the Beatles, it's just without John Lennon. We have that guy, kind of looks like him.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Unless there's an idea.
Wait. When are they going to reboot Leave It to Beaver?
They did that in the 90s. Do you remember that? There was a Leave It to Beaver movie.
The Cleavers shaped a generation, and now the Bee is back. Leave It to Beaver.
Ward, I'm worried about the beaver.
That was the height of taking things from like the 50s and 60s TV shows and making movies out of them.
Now it's taking things from the 70s and 80s and making movies out of them.
Yeah.
It's a creatively bankrupt world that we live in.
That's why I champion things like John Wick 3. I mean, I guess it's a sequel, but it's like a newer series. It's an original property. It's not a reboot of anything.
Great. Hey, speaking of the Beatles, I saw Yesterday. I did not see it yesterday, but I saw Yesterday.
You saw what yesterday?
Yesterday.
I don't even have the energy to do the bit.
Just say who's on first. You boomer. What's who's on first? I'm gonna Google that. What the fuck? How old are these guys?
Yesterday, Ellie bought you a present. Oh, my troubles seem so far away.
I saw the trailer for Yesterday a long time ago. Not yesterday. Yesterday is a song by the Beatles. It's a Danny Boyle film.
Oh.
He's gone from Train Spotting to wacky romantic comedies. Have you even seen a trailer for this?
No, I've heard the title. That's all I know.
I think
I've seen the poster.
It's a lovely little movie. The idea behind it is there's this guy, sort of I guess you would call it magic realism or fantasy film. It's almost like fairy tale.
Sure.
And so you have to have that mindset. Don't take it too seriously. But all the power in the whole world goes out for 10 seconds. And in that moment, he gets hit by a bus. He wakes up and he's like, oh God, and all his fucking teeth are knocked out. His friends give him a guitar and he plays Yesterday. And they're like, that's great. When did you write that?
I have heard the
premise. I didn't write it, the Beatles wrote it. and then so he discovers he's living in a world where the Beatles have not existed.
But he still remembers everything.
He still remembers them. He remembers most of their songs. Some of the songs he's a little iffy on the lyrics, so he's not like a hardcore like Beatles fanatic. He just knows some of the songs, and so he decides to take advantage of that and claim them as his own.
I'm assuming there's some sort of moral to stealing.
Well, yeah,
people's art
it's
something?
like when you see the trailer, you're like, okay, this can end several different ways, like what happened, and then throughout the movie too, it's like sort of like a running joke where it's like certain things don't exist anymore. At the end, there's a little stinger where he's like, I feel just like Harry Potter dealing with Voldemort, and his girlfriend's like, who's Harry Potter? And then another cash-making idea right there. But no, it's I'm a big Beatles fan, so I enjoy the music of the Beatles and him playing it in different ways. And the soundtrack seems to kind of like blend in riffs and themes of Beatles music. And it's a cute movie. It's not a deep thinker. It's kind of fun. And then of course, moral of the story. Don't want to spoil the ending. And there's a wonderful little surprise. At the end. There's no real conclusion of what happened on a scientific level. It's like the Mandela effect, right? Like something happened where some people remember that Nelson Mandela died 20 years ago or something like that, right?
You remember things differently than how they actually happened.
Yes. So, but there's no scientific explanation. So don't be expecting that. Just
it's like a Groundhog Day premise then. Like there's no reason Bill Murray keeps waking up on the same day. It just happens.
But it's about the love story. And that's what this is. It's so not a deep thinker, but a fun film.
Let me just give you this advice. Song title. Hey, dude.
Well, I got one of those too. Did you happen to watch Dolemite Is My Name?
I didn't.
Son of a bitch. It's wonderful.
I come up with a new character. Dolemite is my name, and fucking up motherfuckers is my game.
It's a good, would make a good double feature with Ed Wood. It's of course written by the same guys who wrote Ed Wood. They seem to specialize in biopics about weird outsiders, People versus Larry Flint and Man on the Moon. So they have a very specific structure to their movies, and I would say that's kind of a detriment to this one, is that it's very, you kind of know where it's going at every moment, because it takes moments from a real person's life and kind of works them into a traditional narrative. But when that person's life is Rudy Ray Moore, it leads to many, many funny things, many funny scenes.
To hilarity?
It leads to hilarity because you got Eddie Murphy trying his heart out. I can't remember the last time I saw him actually giving his shit. Bowfinger? It was like 20 years ago.
Damn, that was so real. You see how he was staring at me like that? I got a chill down my back. This is gonna be a good scene. Man, I can't wait to watch this movie, huh? Hey, man, when can we watch the movie?
Can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Is Bitch, Are You For Real in there?
Bitch, are you for real?
Spoilers, yes it is. Not only is it in there, it's the last thing in the movie. Actual Rudy Ray Moore. There's like a montage of clips from his movies at the end. And the very last thing before the end credits is Bitch, Are You For Real?
With Eddie Murphy in the role?
No, it's scenes from the actual movies. It's like, well, you've seen the fake version, now here's the real thing. And so the best thing that will hopefully come out of this is that more people go back and watch Rudy Ray Moore movies, because this is a wonderful love letter to him and what he did and making movies as kind of an outsider. Not only in terms of like, he's just some guy that did these like really vulgar comedy albums and people are like, we can't release these are filthy. So he released them himself. Then he couldn't get any jobs even in blaxploitation movies. They didn't want him, so he just made his own movie.
The actors we hire, like Fred Williamson, Jim Brown. Now, see, you, on the other hand, you're a bit doughier than them.
Doughier?
Scene-stealing performance by Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Not only is Eddie Murphy back, Wesley Snipes is back as Durgood something, the guy who directed the Dolemite movie. He was also like an actor, and he's very like pretentious in this, and he's great. There's a line we always quote Ed Wood, and one of the famous lines from that is when, don't you want a second take for protection?
Don't you want a second take for protection? What's to protect? It was perfect.
And there's a moment in this where they're doing a scene from Dolemite with this really awkward fight scene, and Rudy Ray Moore, Eddie Murphy is Rudy Ray Moore, yeah. He doesn't come anywhere close to connecting with the people he's fighting with. And they turn to Wesley Snipes and they're like, do you want to do another take?
How's that? I see no reason to do it again.
And I was laughing so loud. Not only the line, but his delivery of it. He leaves like a dramatic pause. It's so good.
It's so wonderful that the world is recognizing more so the Rudy Ray Moore's magic.
Yeah. Well, that's like when Ed Wood came out. There was people going back and watching his movies. So hopefully that happens.
Then they found out they're fucking boring.
Well, that's the case with the Ed Wood movies, not so much of the Rudy Ray Moore.
No,
it's mostly like the first hour of the movie is kind of the backstory of he's like an outsider and a loser and blah blah blah. The second half is mostly the making of Dolemite, and that's when the movie really kind of kicks into gear.
I think that's maybe a slight reservation why I haven't watched it, because I've not seen Dolemite. I've seen Human Tornado and Petey Wheatstraw, and one other.
Disco Godfather.
Disco Godfather, yes, that's it. So the very first one I have not seen. I've seen the three other ones.
Yeah.
So
it really doesn't matter. It's not like, I remember when we saw The Disaster Artists, and it was like, the only laughs you get are out of recognition from the real movie.
But this has a good story.
This has, you're
down on his luck guy, moving his way up, doing his own thing, like a Rudy.
No, like Rudy. Another Rudy. They do kind of, and we've talked about this before, I think when we talked about Ed Wood, how it's like when you watch a movie like this, you shouldn't go into it anticipating an accurate depiction of the events. Like it's strung together in a narrative. So they do kind of combine Dolemite and Human Tornado, because like there's a sex scene where they're filming the sex scene and like the ceiling collapses, and that's a scene from Human Tornado. At the end of the movie, he's watching the Dolemite movie in a theater with a bunch of people, and most of the clips they're showing are actually from Human Tornado. So they just kind of combine those two into one movie for this. There is a little nod to Petey Wheatstraw, too. When he's talking about all the things he wants to put into his movie, Keegan-Michael Key is the screenwriter, and he's telling him all of his ideas, like put this in there, put kung fu, put this and that, and he's like, and The Exorcist is big, so put some devil shit in there.
I don't know how that fits into our urban motif.
You know something, maybe you're right. I don't want to be cleaning up green vomit and shit off the set all the time. We put the devil in another movie.
So it's a wonderful movie, good supporting cast. similar to Ed Wood, you have all those. It's like the structure of like the Muppet movie, where it's like you have your character with a dream, and then they have all the other, or the Wizard of Oz, where they meet all these characters along the way. Very traditional structure, but it works for a movie like this.
God damn, Dolemite.
Great God in heaven, you know I...
Well, speaking of biopics, dumbass.
I don't call them biopics.
That's the proper way.
Is biopic not proper?
Biopic is not proper.
I just don't like the sound of biopic.
It's like GIF and GIF.
Oh.
Yes, I know.
GIF is technically the right way, but nobody says it.
Exactly. Biopic is the right way. And pumpkins do not grow in Florida. But speaking of biopics that aren't maybe not exactly accurate, or take some liberties, I saw Rocketman.
I'm thinking of changing my name to Elton.
But that's my name.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you could be the best-selling artist in America if you desire.
You're on a roll with the music movie.
I know. Well, Beatles, Elton John, love Elton John. Elton John is a favorite of mine. Crazy Cat, that Elton John, love him. So this came out around the time of that Bohemian Rhapsody. I think a little later than that.
A little after, yeah.
And I remember I've seen clips of. I haven't seen Bohemian Rhapsody, but I've seen clips, right?
Yeah.
And it's got that robot, Mr. Robot Man.
Yes.
Whatever his name is, and that had a creepy vibe to it because Bryan Singer's fingerprints were all over it.
It's not the only thing his fingerprints were all over.
Set up, swing the. This is a baseball, right?
Oh.
There you go.
It's like a bunt, that joke.
Which ties into Rocketman. Because he does that when he plays the Yankee Stadium. Anyways, so yeah, I didn't want to watch that, and then that guy, and there's a lot of parallels. Both have fake teeth, and he's got a little gap tooth appliance on. And then, of course, Mr. Robot has comical horse teeth in. And other than having the creepy Bryan Singer vibe on it, it seemed very straightforward, and also Mr. Robot doesn't sing. It's all Queen music dubbed over, and this Taron Egerton, I think it's Edgerton. I should look these things up. The Kingsman kid actually sings.
Oh, okay.
And so it was very, and then the storyline is very like, it's almost like a Broadway play. It's not your straight narrative. People break out in song, things like that. It
so the movie itself is actually a musical. It's not just.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it's. Have you ever seen Moulin Rouge?
I have.
Okay. It's very.
The movie's a fucking nightmare.
Very similar to Moulin Rouge. It's like where what's his face? Ewan McGregor is actually singing.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's okay at it. But you give him points for actually doing it. That's the same thing with this.
Okay.
The
only person you don't do that for is Russell Crowe in Les Mis.
Follow to the letter your itinerary. This badge of shame you'll show it till you die.
He actually sang.
And I'm Javert.
So if they can kind of pull it off, then you give them points for the effort,
sure,
as opposed to overdubbing. And
I'd rather see that than where it's just
Yeah.
Freddie Mercury's voice coming out of Mr. Robot.
Yeah. And then you can argue that, Elton John is a serviceable singer. He's a better songwriter, but you got to find a very special person to be able to act and sing like Freddie Mercury. That's a different story altogether. It's Freddie Mercury, vocalists.
Yeah.
You can't really, that would be embarrassing to try that. But Elton John, yeah. Anyways, so, the movie's like kind of fantastical, and it's like a musical where all the characters are singing and dancing and you're jumping around, and, it's not like, it feels like you're watching a play. So, I enjoyed it.
Well, Mike, I have a question then, because Elton John is gay, Freddie Mercury was gay.
I think Freddie Mercury might have been bisexual.
All I know is that in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, they severely reduced that to make it almost nothing. Is there anything in this movie about him being gay?
That's what the entire movie's about.
Oh, okay.
That is the ultimate arc.
Okay.
Because Elton John actually did marry a woman under the pressure of publicity. He married her for like a year.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the crux of the whole premise, essentially.
Because I remember seeing criticisms about Bohemian Rhapsody for that, how they like severely reduced his sexuality, and that was a big part of it.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, where it's like, and then I've seen clips where it's like, it looks like an X-Men movie because the camera's flying in and you have all these digital people, and I'm like, I don't know about this one. I don't know if I want to watch it. I never did.
I didn't see it, mainly because of Bryan Singer at this point.
This one is a little less. This one, like I said, is a little more whimsical and fantastical, kind of like how Elton John probably would have loved it, even though he's not dead.
I was going to say, he's still alive, right?
He's definitely still alive. But yeah,
everybody was pissed off when he came to Milwaukee for the 100-year Harley Davidson rally.
That's embarrassing. Elton John's got some rockers. Come on.
Not if you're a 300-pound bearded guy in a leather vest. You don't want to listen to Elton John.
You don't really want to hear Candle in the Wind.
I'm gonna fucking blow out that candle with my exhaust. The fuck off the stage. This the opening act for AC/DC. Bring out ZZ Top, not ZZ Bottom.
That joke was forming in my head as I said it.
That's amazing.
Anyway, great movie.
Well, Mike, I saw probably the most anticipated movie of the year.
Rise of Skywalker's Pants. That's because Mark Hamill's old.
Yeah, he's got to hike him up, sure. No, but I saw the Pet Sematary remake.
My only question is why?
The whole town's been using this place for generations. Folks make a kind of ritual out of it.
Well, I was curious. I like those directors. It's two guys.
Who?
They did a movie a few years ago called Starry Eyes that I really liked.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah, about actress selling her soul to Satan.
Yes.
It's wonderful. It's a very good movie with a really great
Oh, because it was an original movie and not a remake?
Exactly.
And they got sucked up and cashed in the check for the remake.
It's the typical thing. Although I think I heard something, and I don't know if there's truth behind this, that the reason this movie was even made is because whatever studio, Paramount, I think, owns it, like the lights were about to lapse.
Yeah.
So they just shit out a movie really quick. I mean, it sucks. I was curious about it because of the filmmakers, but it's not good.
Leave it buried.
Sometimes dead is better. It looks nice, but it's like it changes something. This is kind of a spoiler, but they give it away in the trailer, which is, it's the family. They live by the highway with the trucks driving by. In the original story and in the original film, truck hits the little baby.
Gage,
the little kid.
I always remember the name because I was like, that's a weird name.
Yeah.
That's the movie Denise Crosby left Star Trek The Next Generation to go make.
Yeah, she's not good in that movie. That's the biggest problem with that original movie. The lead guy is boring as fuck. But you got Fred Gwynn, who's awesome in that movie.
Has anyone ever buried a person up there?
Christ on his throne, no.
But this movie, they change it where it's not Gage that gets hit by the truck, it's the older daughter. Which one is less bizarre and creepy.
Tasha Yar?
Denise Crosby was the mom.
Well, now she plays the older daughter.
That doesn't make any sense.
Because this is a prequel.
What the fuck is happening to your brain? Well, they changed it to the older daughter, which is like the most overused thing in horror movies. The creepy little girl, the hair hanging in the face, the little zombie girl. And I think they did it because in modern studio idea would be that killing a baby is too horrific for a horror film.
True.
So they made it the older daughter, and it fundamentally ruins the entire concept of the idea from the original book and what the original movie did.
How old of a daughter are we talking?
7, 8, 9.
Oh, okay. I guess what Gage
He's not a
was like
fucking baby.
He was like a toddler.
Yeah,
and so
he
that
could
was
barely
more,
walk, and it's
not
so
that, yeah.
Because when I think of that original movie and the original story, like it's less like scary and more just sort of tragic and sad.
It's heartbreaking. The toddler gets hit by a car, and they
it's like of course you would want to bring this child back, even though you know the consequences.
Yeah, I mean, you'd still want to bring your 8 or 9-year-old back, but it has
it
most
lessens that impact,
emotional resonance.
Yeah, so that affects the entire movie, and then the last 15 minutes really changes things from the story to the point of ludicrousy, where I was practically laughing at how
Ludicrous
stupid it was.
is in it?
Well, it's still cold. We still have more movies to talk about.
Yes, this conversation has gone on much longer than I expected.
Well, let's have it go on longer, but we'll take a break and then come back.
Yeah, like in another segment or part.
What?
Continue like tomorrow. I guess we can't leave because the roads are closed.
Whatever.